churn. Is that what we call it? The other day we separated a bunch of cream from our milk with our tabletop cream separator. Today we're going to see if we can crank this up into some butter. Like I'm seeing foam in there.
When I put the cream in, it was only up to about right there.
Okay, so we're getting it aerated good, huh?
Yeah. I don't know, but I read that if you churn it slower, you get more butter out of your cream.
Okay. Well, then I was accidentally doing the right thing. I'm just going at a steady, normal pace.
Did you inherit that from your great-grandfather, or where did you get it?
This churn?
Yeah.
No, I did not inherit this churn. We picked it up at an auction.
It's a little wobbly.
It is a little wobbly.
I think that people actually used it to make butter.
It's clearly been used because the top is riveted onto the lid, and those rivets have gotten kind of, like the top is almost wanting to break. So at some point I might have to cut those rivets off and put little bolts through it.
And inside there's wooden paddles.
Yep.
Which you can't see right now.
Yep.
And I'm worried that we put too much cream in there. I can stand here and churn the butter that came from the milks that I can see out in the pasture. We've been churning 10 minutes now. Actually 12.
I think this is a 3-quart jar, and we put 2 quarts of cream in it. And I think a general rule of thumb is that you should fill your container no more than half full. So we're actually filled to 2/3 full. We've been cranking this thing for 15 minutes or so. And it seems like we're struggling to make a lot of forward progress. So I'm trying to crank a little bit harder, get a little bit more action out of it. But it could be that we just have too much cream in here. It's such a terrible problem when you have too much cream. Got some almost whipped cream in there.
It's getting there.
It's getting there, getting there, getting there. There's our paddles. That's what makes it crank so hard. If we didn't have those paddles on there, this thing would be so much easier to crank. As it turns into whipped cream, it begins to crank harder, so we had to put somebody on there with a little more horsepower. Did you know if you keep whipping after it turns into butter, then the next stage is ice cream?
No, that's not true.
Okay, we're getting to whipped cream now, so it's starting to crank really hard. It was cranking super hard for a little bit when it was at that stage where it was whipped cream. Now it's getting to where it cranks pretty easily again. That's because it's starting to clump up into butter. Can't really see much from the outside, but the difference is amazing in how well it cranks. Okay, well, it is definitely starting to come to butter, but we're having problems with this lid on this antique. It's got a crack in it there, and we're working it pretty hard. So we're going to go ahead and use the mixer to finish it off. You look cute with butter in your hair.
Thanks.
Well, the vintage butter churn is a fun idea, but there's a reason that people went to power equipment. Starting to churn into butter. Soon it's going to start splashing all over it. Okay, time to wash the butter. Water. The goal is to just get rid of all the buttermilk, right?
Yep.
What happens if you don't get rid of the buttermilk?
Well, nothing happens. It just goes bad faster. You have sour butter the next day if there's too much in it. The cream was very old.
Well, we don't want sour butter.
Well, milk butter melts at a lower temperature than cow butter does. So it's actually harder to work with. The hardest thing about making butter then is getting all the pockets of buttermilk and then water and everything out of it. I'm going to smush the moisture out of any of the water.
And you're using?
I'm using my butter paddles to do that. I think I got it pretty clean though. running water over it and just using my hands. I actually don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm just pretending. That's what we all do, right?
That's right.
My mother didn't teach me how to do this because we didn't make butter when I was a kid. But if you grew up 100 years ago, you would know how to do this without even thinking about it. My sink is sterile, so I just put the butter back in here. I have a sterile farmhouse kitchen.
Oh, yes. There you go. Butter.
Now you spread just the right amount of salt on it. And you use uniodized salt, but I don't have any, so I just use iodized salt. There, that's probably pretty salty butter.
Yeah. Very scientific about things like this.
I have no idea why you shouldn't use iodized salt. Can't remember.
There's probably a reason.
There is a reason. I'm trying to think what it is.
Just trying to find the perfect filming angle. And I'm not sure, but it might not exist.
I'd say it's a little more than a pound. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say it's going to be 1.25 pounds to 1.5 pounds. I think it's probably 1.5 pounds. That came from 2 quarts of cream, correct?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I read
2
somewhere
quarts of cream. I think it said 3 earlier.
a pound of cream of butter from a quart of cream, but I haven't had that happen yet. So maybe our cream isn't thick enough.
That could be.
One and a quarter pounds.
There you go. It is true, our cream is, like we have our cream separator set to where it gives us not like a super heavy whipping cream, but more like a heavy.
Just right for coffee.
Yeah, it's like a heavy half and half or something.
Probably what you'd call table cream instead of heavy whipping cream.
Yeah.
I don't know what the official standard is.
Anyway, there you have it, butter. I mean, there we have it, butter.